9 o'clock, Jim and the Buckeye Boy from the Bozarth Miller Chevrolet Buick Studios, the most trusted name in automobiles. Broncos offense struggles again. Bo Nix has another 2-interception game, another red zone interception. Denver can't run the ball. Defense plays well enough for them to win. How much of this is Sean Payton's fault? Bo Nix, the offensive line. I like to think all of the above. But I'm going to put Payton, the line, and then Bo Nix in that order. Sean Payton's the offensive genius. It hasn't looked very genius the first 2 weeks. And at times last year it didn't look that way. But he's going to get his guy. He's going to get his quarterback. And so they drafted Bo Nix, who you can only put so much blame on Bo Nix here as a rookie quarterback. The offensive line is the highest paid offensive line in football. And they can't run the ball to save their lives to help their rookie quarterback.
No.
Has Nix been perfect? Has he been great? No. Nor has Caleb Williams, for that matter. Jaden Daniels has been okay. Hasn't been terrible for Washington.
Brian Robinson Jr. rushed for 30 yards fewer than the Denver Broncos have all season yesterday.
Yeah. He's
That's
getting
one
help
player.
there. He's got Terry McLaurin. He's got help there.
Right.
Where Bo Nix doesn't have any. Got a text from Andy this morning on the team line. Was the game yesterday, there was more booing towards Sean Payton than anyone else. Broncos fans understand Nix is a work in progress. Offensive line still sucks, and Dulcich could catch herpes at a nickel brothel? Wow. Wow, Andy. Whoa. Andy. I got to take a sip there and reflect on that for a moment. Whoa.
There's really not much to add there. That pretty much covers it.
From Dylan, this is getting quickly unacceptable. I get it, he's a rookie, but help a guy out. Let's see, from Steve. You had the text about Wilson. Yes, Russ got a game ball yesterday. He didn't play, but he got a game ball. Did Beatty get another rush attempt after I think he had 7 to 10 yard first down run?
It was a 16-yard run, and no,
he did not. So
he got the one run and the one target.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah, he had one carry for 16 yards. Why not turn back to him?
But if precedent holds, he's probably also injured like Audric Estime. Remember, it's like, well, why didn't Estime get it? Turns out he was hurt.
Yeah, he's on injured reserve.
Yeah. The offensive line's getting people killed.
Let's see, got one from Brett from Montrose. I thought Riley Dixon looked like a Pro Bowler yesterday. Yeah, Riley Dixon had a good day putting the ball.
He had a good day.
He had a good day. James over at Colorado Craft. Good morning, gents, and great show. You can blame Nix for the end zone pick, but like I've been saying, he is a rookie, and these things are going to happen this year. I blame the offensive line more than him. If they're doing a better job, we might have some resemblance of a running game. Also, can we please get rid of Bowles? Sadly, it's what you got right now. Unfortunately, if you're a Denver Bronco fan, it's what we have. Larry from Clifton, Broncos offensive line will have growing pains all this year. Defense should have known going into this year they'll have to carry this team. Also, if they want Deshaun Watson to play better quarterback, tell him with every 5 touchdown passes, he'll have a lawsuit taken away.
Perfect. That's great.
So motivation for Deshaun Watson, perhaps. All right, text or call us, 970-242-1340. Jim along with the Buckeye Boy. We'll have a recap of the college football weekend coming up here in just a moment. Who do we have on the team line?
Sam from Fruta is checking in.
Sam, Sam, I was talking about you the other day to my wife.
And no wonder why my ears have been burning.
And I said, there's 2 guys I have not heard from in a while. Howard from Fruta and Sam from Fruta. And so I'm wondering, are you blocking us, or is it an embargo of us? Is it a boycott of us? Is there some reason Fruta's not you and
slipped
Howard?
To number 3 in Fruta is what the problem.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been too long. Why have you been gone so long?
Well, I'm going to blame the Russians. I think they're sending one of those microwave energy beams down there and disrupting our phone service, although it could just be the fact that we've got Spectrum.
Oh, okay. That could be the problem, too. But it's good to hear from you, Sam. What's on your mind?
Well, Jim Davis, I know it's early, and it's only 2 games, but I'm really afraid that the genius is going to lose his Mensa card.
I think there are those that are ready to take it away from him. I'm with Buckeye. I'm reluctant to ever agree with Rex Ryan on much of anything. But when he made the comment today that I've yet to see the genius of Sean Payton during this return to coaching, this time in Denver, old foot fetish is right. Where is the top 10 offenses that he managed to dial up when he was with the New Orleans Saints? I get it, he doesn't have Drew Brees. He doesn't have a Michael Thomas. But, geez, it should be better than this.
Yeah, things just stay the same. I mean, we saw the same thing last year, and, well, it was Russell's fault because Sean didn't like him. He wasn't his quarterback, and okay, well, now he's got supposedly who is quarterback. He's had another off season to get the team into maybe not championship shape, but at least respectable. And, the first game, they got 2 turnovers in the red zone, and they couldn't score. 2 field goals again this week. There's something wrong there, and I don't want to throw any rocks at our beloved owners, but I think maybe retail is better for them than football.
I don't know. Maybe they put a lot of confidence in Sean Payton, and I get it from the past. Maybe he's earned some of that, but there comes a point, Sam, where this is supposed to be his specialty. He's the offensive guru. And for this offense to look the way it has, and you're right, this is the year where there's no excuses anymore. Full off season, quarterback that he wants, and even Jarrett Stidham, a guy that he likes and a guy that he feels like knows how to run his system. So you can't say, well, there's not an alternative there to Bo Nix if he feels like Bo is truly the problem, which I don't feel like Bo is entirely the problem here. This is a point where there's no more excuses. This is the highest paid offensive line in pro football. This is on Sean Payton's watch. All of this. Ownership deserves blame. I get that. They were the ones that were, hey, let's sign Russ to that extension. Let's do that while he still has 2 years left, and maybe we need to figure out if he's really a good fit here, which he obviously wasn't. I just think this is all on Sean Payton's shoulders. This is on his desk right now to get this sorted out, because he was supposed to be the guy that could fix everything, and he has not done that.
And as fans, we're hoping to get out of this many-year drought, and at least after 2 games, it doesn't look too promising. What was the over/under for him this year? 6.5, or was it 5.5?
It's 5.5.
Yeah, I was thinking, boy, that sounds awful low, but hey, maybe you're better betting the under if you still can.
Well, yeah, I didn't. Here's the thing that's frustrating. Their defense is playing pretty darn well. As much as we like to crack an old, hey, we practiced well, Vance Joseph, the defense has played pretty darn well out of the gate.
Yeah, the defense certainly hasn't been the problem, at least half of last season and so far this season. I don't know. Are they going to Tampa next week?
They are at Tampa on Sunday. Yes, they are.
Oh, boy.
They're a 7-point dog there.
Might be 0-3.
Could very well be.
Hey, Jim, it's good talking with you. We're still alive out here in Fruita, believe it or not.
Well, I'm glad to hear
At least our traffic guys haven't decided to put a bunch of white stakes all over the street, so it looks like a bowling alley gone crazy. But we're hanging in there.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Sam. Glad to hear that. You take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, Sam from Fruita. It was out after the Mesa game Saturday in Fruita. Yeah, they don't have anything like that there. Just looking at total defense rankings right now for for this season. Keep in mind, this is through week 1. So I'm through week 1, Denver 17th.
I have a updated number if you
Give me,
like.
thank you, because I could not find an updated number.
On points, they're 11th.
Okay, which is good.
Not bad. Yards, they're 10th. Now, some of those numbers are deceiving because they're 5th in passing yards, but they're 24th in rushing yards allowed, 24th in the league. So teams are rushing against them just fine. Teams are not passing against them very well, it seems, but also when you don't have to pass the ball a ton because you're rushing just fine.
Because you're running it, yeah, which...
And also, the points allowed they're at 39 points allowed. When you don't have to score too many points, your defense's points allowed are going to look pretty good. You know what I mean? Like they only 26 and 13 is what it's taken to beat the Broncos. So that's not a great number to have. That defensive points allowed number looks good, but it's entirely on your offense's inability to threaten other teams.
And so here they sit at 0-2. With a defense
It's all right.
Had a good start to the season.
Yeah.
Remember how bad they were one of the worst run defense in the league last year. Like they're 30th or 31st against the run. So that while they haven't gone from 31st to number 5.
Yeah.
It's gotten better.
It's gotten better.
It's improved.
The points allowed is down. Yards allowed is down. That's good. You have more penalty yards punished than rushing yards gained by 21.
Where the offense has scored 1 touchdown and 26 points in 2 games. That's not good. All right, who do we have on the team line?
This is Paul.
Okay. Paul, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Enjoying a beautiful Monday up here.
Very good.
Hey, I got a question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So Sean is the chef of this team, right? He's making the recipes and he's cooking the food.
True.
So if I want lobster thermidor, but I'm giving crawdad, can I really expect to have a really good meal? No. So he has got some of his own guys in there. He was, 8 years in New Orleans, 6 years in New Orleans before they started seeing some success. Man, we are in a show me right now, I want results right now society. This is the NFL. I think you guys are asking a lot.
You think we're asking a lot?
I think fans are asking a lot. I think the media is asking a lot. This guy is 18 games into his tenure, and the pressure that's already mounting on him is incredible.
I think part of the problem, though, that the people are having here, Paul, and Cody Rourke addressed it, because Cody's out of practice, and Cody gets a chance to see them in a more intimate fashion than we do, is that things that formations, things that they're doing at practice, things that they did in the preseason are not things that they're doing right now. In terms of formations, in terms of personnel groupings, Joe Lombardi called the plays during the preseason. Sean Payton did not. Mm-hmm. And so those are things that they do. Those things do fall on Sean Payton's desk in terms of who calls the plays, in terms of personnel groupings and how they approach things. I get it. You're right. The talent is not where it probably needs to be, certainly from a wide receiver standpoint at this juncture. I like Courtland Sutton, but to me, Courtland Sutton's a 2 or 3 guy in most teams. He's Denver's de facto number 1 guy here. The offensive line, they've spent a lot of money on it, but it doesn't mean that it's good. And so some of the stuff, you're right, probably not entirely fair to blame all of it on Sean Payton. But when you do have the reputation of being the guy, the genius, the guru, like he was in New Orleans, then people are going to expect results to be pretty quick and pretty sudden turnaround, particularly when this is the quarterback that he wanted.
And when you talk about Sean Payton's patience, he took over a 3-13 team, went 10-6, and made it to the NFC Championship game. His first 6 years in New Orleans, it took him 6 years to get success. He had 62 wins. His first 6 years included an NFC Championship game appearance, a wild card, a division round, and a Super Bowl win. Like, he was 4 years in when he won the Super Bowl. We're halfway there in Denver, and his first 3 years, 10-6.
First 2 years. What was his record the first two?
10-6, 7-9.
Well, that's better than here, that's for sure. Although you go from 10-6 to 7-9, if you're in New Orleans, aren't you raising your eyebrows and going, okay, here we go again? I just think a little patience is needed. That's all.
But I think with the case of Sean Payton, because Sean comes in with a bit of I'm the guy that can fix all this. And he talks about his background, his knowledge. I think there's the hubris there that rubs people the wrong way. And it's like, okay, if you're this good, like you were in New Orleans, why isn't this better here? Why isn't it better than what it is? I don't think anybody expects Denver. I thought if they can win 9 games this year, make an improvement over last year by a game, that's good. I don't know if they're going to get there. Defensively, they've got a chance. The offense has to improve dramatically, and that does fall on Sean Payton's desk. And if we're talking about guys like Marvin Mims, supposed to be guys that are going to challenge the field vertically, but you never target him. Tyler Beatty, who comes in and rips off a 16-yard run, and then that's the last time he touches the football, and your ground game is struggling. And there was the situation where Bo Nix is trying to get the play from Sean Payton, and Sean is taking forever to get the play in. Those are things that, don't you feel, Paul, do kind of fall on Sean Payton's desk to get cleaned up?
I think there's some culpability on both parts. On the play you're talking about, I watched that play. Bo Nix is still a rookie in the NFL. Things change. That was one play out of how many offensive plays? 65 or 70? Yes. Was the timing poor? Absolutely. I just, the results that people want, and as quickly as they want them. And now there's people saying, they're just, I don't know. It just seems like he should have a little bit more time. By the way, do you think that if he had the option to sign Garrett Bowles for that amount of money, he would have signed him? I don't think so.
I agree. There are things he's been handed that he did not want. Russ was one of those, and Garrett Bowles is probably some of those. I agree. There are things here that Paul that Sean Payton did not ask for coming in the door. And I don't. By no means, I think you are, Buckeye. We're not saying, hey, let's fire Sean Payton tomorrow, because that's not going to.
No, if you want to wait till Wednesday.
But you do. But I think at some point you do have to. Wait. That's an exercise in a lot of patience.
I thought
good
so,
job.
yeah.
I do feel like, though, Paul, there comes a point where Sean does start to shoulder more of the blame here. Than last year, I think he got a free pass, and understandably so. And he got them to their best record since 9-7, the year they went to the Super Bowl and won it. That should be applauded. And I'm not forgetting that. It's been a tough start. It is a tough start because he's got a rookie quarterback. But there are things that, and this is, some of the stuff comes from Cody O'Rourke that we talk to on a weekly basis. There are some things that were working in the preseason, working in practice, that have not fully been implemented and aren't taking place the first 2 weeks of the regular season. So nobody on this program, I think, is advocating for Greg Pinner to can Sean Payton tomorrow.
Oh, of course not.
But Sean Payton does have to accept, and I think he is. I'm giving Sean Payton credit on this. It's not like he was talking to Dave Logan at the presser yesterday going, none of this is on me. I'm not hearing that from him. I'm hearing him take accountability for the things that he does control, and let's hope that going to Tampa Bay, it's not going to be easy. Going on the road, 11 o'clock windows, never been kind to the Broncos, that they can get some stuff figured out. Hey, Paul, always great to hear from you. I appreciate you, and thanks for listening.
Cheers.
All right, take care. All right.
I think the thing that we also have to remember is Bo Nix's NFL career is about 99% unwritten.
Very true.
Sean Payton, to be this quote-unquote offensive genius, had Drew Brees.
Which is not nothing. Which is fair.
Which was the NFL's all-time leading passer at some point. I don't think anybody's projected Bo Nix to be that guy. Like, he's going to make a run at Tom. Never at any point. And Brees maybe not either, but Brees was a commodity at the time. He was already, there were questions about his shoulder, but he was a veteran that had played and was winning games in San Diego. Then Sean Payton kind of took him and ran with it. Sean Payton's never built a quarterback from scratch.
And this is it. This is it. The only other quarterback rookie that he had drafted or even started was Ian Book.
Yeah.
Well, he drafted other rookie quarterbacks, but Ian Book's the only one.
Drafted guys, but he's
Ian
never
Book's
played
the only
them
one. Ian
significantly.
Book's the only one that's ever started a game in his rookie season.
Sean Payton,
when he was in New Orleans,
in his tenure in New Orleans, had as many 7-win seasons as he did 12 or more win seasons. 5-5. He had a couple of 11s and a 10, but he took over a team in New Orleans, immediately went to the NFC Championship game. Then took a backslide a little bit because the defense was ranked 26th and 23rd. Then won a Super Bowl. That was year 4.
but when we
that's
talk,
the expectation he's brought with his resume.
And also when we talk about, yes, Garrett Bowles was not, Sean Payton had nothing to do with Garrett Bowles being in Denver.
And I don't want it to sound people like, well, if he wants lobster, why are you giving him crawfish? Do you really think Sean Payton has less control over this roster than the guy that was here before him? Sean Payton is essentially the GM.
Right. And is the talent there, are the ingredients there to be as good as teams in New Orleans? At this point, no, because there's nobody on this team that's like Michael Thomas was in his prime.
Who's in charge when they brought in McGlinchey and Powers?
Or Alvin Kamara. That would be Sean Payton.
Who's in charge when they cut Justin Simmons and Josie Jewell and Tim Patrick and Samaje? You don't think those guys could be impact players this year? Who's replaced them that has made an impact?
Certainly nobody on the wide receiver group is playing better than Tim Patrick probably would have been playing.
And I understand you have to have patience, Bo Nix. And this is Bo Nix tangentially. We talked about it in the first hour. The Broncos were better last year, moving the ball, scoring points when Russ kind of threw out the playbook and did his own thing. Optically. That's not what happened, but that's what it looked like, right?
Right.
Let's go play backyard ball, Russ, danger Russ, let Russ cook. Well, all right, so Russ is the problem as to why we're not better and why we were only 8-9 and this whole, and I don't want this guy, so I'm going to go draft Bo Nix. And when we run my plays, we're losing yards running the football. We're throwing it 5 yards downfield. He's got an open receiver. He overthrows him by 15 yards. Now let Bo go cook. And hey, look, the offense looks a little bit better. Same problems, same results. To then hamstring the team with cutting Russ in the salary cap and then cut all these other guys because you got to, Tim Patrick, he's really a one-role guy and we have guys in there that can play 2 or 3 roles. Well, they're not doing any of them.
You guys to catch the ball right now need to make plays on
Marvin
third
Mims
down.
is a non-factor in 2 different phases, whereas Tim Patrick could have been a factor in at least one. Right?
And it doesn't mean you don't still keep Marvin Mims.
Right. Or we thought this running back room would be better without somebody like Samaje Perine, who when push came to shove last year could make a play. He might be the only guy on offense that made a play at times last year, but he could make something positive happen. Any of those backs right now give you any sort of positivity that something good's going to happen?
Remember we talked about, hey, Javante's lost 11 pounds.
Yeah, he's also lost 11 yards.
He doesn't break tackles. Nobody on this team can break a tackle right now. Not from a tight end standpoint, receiver standpoint, running back standpoint.
Nobody can make a defensive lineman miss.
No. The first 2 games of the season, the narrative has been nobody can make a guy miss in space.
Can't make a guy miss in space. Can't go through a guy.
All right. Can't break
thanks
tackles.
for nothing then, apparently. It's like we have to get you over the top and wide open, and that's not what you're built for. And then at that
some
point,
of those things are not Sean Payton's fault. And some of those things are not Sean Payton's fault.
No, but
he can't make guys immediately get better at breaking tackles when Javonte Williams, the rookie, was really good at that. Mm-hmm. And no longer apparently is good at that.
But now then also the roster assembly starts to become an issue.
But then also that's the offensive line too, which he has played a role.
4 of the 5 guys are him.
And helping to craft this offensive line.
4 of the 5 guys are Sean Payton's guys. Garrett Bowles
they
is
decided
the only
not to keep Lloyd Cushenberry III. They decided to walk from him.
Javonte Williams is not a Sean Payton guy. All these other guys are. Like, roster assembly is now starting to become an issue. And You can hang that albatross around George Payton's neck, but we all know the truth.
George Payton plays a role,
A minor role.
but it is Sean Payton who is who's now he's the conductor here. He's the conductor of this orchestra. He's the one that is responsible for where things are. And from an offensive standpoint, that's not just roster construction,
Yeah.
but from the way this offense looks.
They're not interesting. They're not dangerous. They're kind of predictable. For being this offensive guru, you kind of have an
And it
idea of
felt
what's coming.
and I get it's a preseason, and it's a different animal. But it felt like with Joe Lombardi calling the plays, it was not predictable to this level.
Once they get through their 15-play script, and sometimes not even then, they run maybe 7 concepts.
Maybe.
Like,
Remember they brought in the Carmichael guy, Pete Carmichael, who worked with him in New Orleans. So, offensive, basic offensive assistant, advisor, consultant.
yeah.
Where's that? I mean, doesn't he go back and go, hey, we're doing some stuff here that we didn't do in New Orleans that we should be doing with this guy if he's supposed to be like Drew Brees?
Sean Payton's 1 year in New Orleans without Drew Brees went from 12th in offensive yards, Drew Brees' last year, to 28th without
Yeah.
Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Maybe like the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. Was it Brady or is it Belichick? Maybe it's the quarterbacks.
Maybe it's the guy that's making the plays out there. All right, 9:27. Jim along with the Buckeye Boy. We do not have a winner for the number game yet, do we?
No, we do not.
Okay.
Let's hit the question again. There's been 1 year, give me the calendar year, when 3 of the 4 major sports teams in Denver got into the playoffs, and 2 of the 3 D1 college football teams made a bowl game. Times has that happened. What year was it?
Give us the year. Send your answer in right now on the team line.
And I'll give you a hint. It has been this century.
Okay. It's good. It's a good hint.
Yep.
So send your answer in right now. If you've won the last 2 weeks, don't play. And if you do win today, you get a case of Coors Original, the banquet beer from High Country Beverage, and you're into the Never Ending Contest for this month, doing a stove from the Stove Depot. Get all the details on that at theteam1340.com. But send your answer in text only on the team line to 970-242-1340. Coming up, take a look at the college football weekend. That's on the way. And also 4-Down Territory and this day in sports history. That's next on the Jim Davis Show.
I'm a big sports addict. I like sports.
Sport. This is the Jim Davis Show on the Team. 101 FM, 1340 AM, Grand Junction. 102.1 FM, Delta Montrose.
Welcome back, 931. Jim along with the Buckeye Boy. Text or call us, 970-242-1340. Do we have a winner yet for the number game?
Let me check.
Okay, take a look at that. And while you're doing that...
We do.
Okay, so let's do this.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the contest.
It's another winner on the Team Sports Network.
Jared, first in the door the year 2005. Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets all made the postseason. Buffaloes and Rams made a bowl game. Only time in Colorado sports history that 5 of the 7 major teams made their respective postseasons.
Fantastic. Well done, Mr. Bond.
Yeah.
Well done.
Jared Valerio.
Oh, Jared. Oh, sorry. That was Jared. I'm sorry.
No, Jared.
Well done,
Jared.
not Jared.
My mistake.
Jared. Well done, Jared.
Yes.
Well done, sir. Well done. All right, 932. Jim along with the Buckeye Boy. Text or call us on the team line, 970-242-1340. All right, University of Colorado Buffaloes playing the Rocky Mountain Showdown. First time in Fort Collins since 1996. A long time since the Rocky Mountain Showdown was played in Fort Collins, Canvas Stadium. They won't play again till 2029, by the way. And the Buffs pick up the victory over CSU 28-9. Travis Hunter, big game, 100 yards receiving, couple of touchdowns. He also had an interception of Rams quarterback Braden Fowler Nicolosi. And so after the game on Saturday, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, talking about getting the win against CSU in the Rocky Mountain Showdown.
We did what we needed to do to come out here with a victory. We just really wanted it to be decisive. We didn't want to leave no if and if we would have done that, if you'd have done, no, we didn't want to leave none of that on the table. Unfortunately, it gets like that when you have these type of rivalries, and that's what transpired.
Of course, you had a lot of chit-chat before the game with Braden Fowler, Nicolosi, and Torrey Holton. Excuse me, not Torrey Horton. Thank you, Torrey Horton. Excuse me. I don't know where we got Holton. Torrey Horton, who...
Torrey Holt, the old Rams.
I think that's what I mean. I think it was flashing back to that. And they talked some smack, say we should have murdered you last year and shouldn't have been close. Of course, the Rams lost in double overtime at Folsom Field. And they got their butts handed to them. 14-point second quarter was the difference. Braden Fowler, Nicolosi, 209 threw 2 interceptions, one of those to Travis Hunter. We talked about Torrey Horton, who had the groin injury, who had some choice words. 2 catches, 24 yards. Once again, if you're going to talk smack, you better be physically ready to back it up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just need to not say anything.
Putting your guys in a bad spot for them to have to cash the check that your mouth wrote.
Shedeur Sanders, a really good night. 310 yards, 4 touchdowns in the game. Travis Hunter mentioned 13 catches, 100 yards, a couple of touchdowns. LaJohntay Wester, 5 catches, 80 yards. He had 2 touchdowns as well. And what do you know? A semblance of a running game with Micah Welch, 9 carries, 65 yards. He averaged 7.2 yards per carry. Isaiah Augustave had 6 carries for 31 yards. So the Buffs actually able to run the football. But then again, they were also facing one of the worst run defenses in college football in
that
CSU.
Helps, yeah.
So that does not hurt.
Got a little healthy against really, really poor run defense.
And then you had the Henry Blackburn hit on Travis Hunter. Of course, it happened last year with the spleen injury to Travis Hunter. They kept him out, and this time another late hit by Blackburn.
They're just touring the state. Next year, he's gonna hit him late in Colorado Springs, and then they're coming over here in 2026.
Yeah,
he'll hit him late here, and then go to OM Lanes or something.
Because they went bowling.
Yeah.
To try to, hey, let's try to patch this up.
Let's bury this hatchet, but only yay deep so I can get it next year.
And there was, of course, the people wanting to death threats to Blackburn again, like there was last year, of threatening him after it happened. But then
That's how you know you've at least made the national stage if you're CU, because for years, nothing about this game was eliciting death threats.
No, not at all. And what was your thought? Because late in the game, Coach Prime kept Shedeur in there. They tried to score again. They're throwing the ball, and he got crushed, Shedeur did, by one of the big defensive linemen for CSU. Fortunately, didn't hurt him, and he was okay. I get it that they ticked you off, but man, that is not a smart play to have. And if you want to run it up, that's your business.
Yeah.
I don't care. That's your choice. But I'm not going to risk the guy that's going to make the difference between us maybe being bowl eligible or contending for a Big 12 title potentially. I'm not going to put him at risk, especially he's my kid. But even more than that, take away the familia part of it. I'm not going to put my quarterback at risk in a game that's already well in hand. No matter what, he wants to go out there and make a point, both Coach Prime and Shedeur.
And you know what? Like, there's a part of me that still wants these are just kids running it up. But, I mean, there's enough NIL money going around right now that they're getting paid to play. So, run it up if you want to. I don't care. Probably shouldn't use your starting quarterback at that point. Because if you piss somebody off.
Game is well in hand.
Right.
And what happens if he gets hurt in that situation?
when you're trying to run it up just to prove a point about hats and sunglasses or something. I don't know. But, yeah, what happens, like he didn't, and that's good news. But what happens if somebody takes real exception to that? And you may lose the battle if you're Colorado State. But, hey, if I get sat down for a game because of my super late hit on Shedeur Sanders, but they lose him for the whole year, who really won here? You know, and I hate to put that out there because I don't think there's people on Colorado State that think that way. I don't want to think there's people there that think that way.
But here's Braden Fowler-Nicolosi.
Yeah, they came out with that attitude and thought it was going to be a cakewalk. They saw the reports, 27.5 points or whatever it was. And they got a rude awakening real quick. And I think it goes to show that the hype, the media train, all that, it only gets you so far. At the end of the day, you have to line up 11 guys against our 11 guys, and we'll find out who wants it more. And we'll see how far Instagram followers gets them.
We all came here to play football, so at the end of the day, the millions of followers and fans that they been produced and got, and celebrities that done jumped on their side because of who Deion Sanders is. At the end of the day, Deion Sanders ain't playing. It's those players playing. So those players better back up on what they speak about.
Okay. Torrey Horton need to be healthy to back some of this up. Hey, Braden Fowler-Nicolosi, you need to not be playing like hot garbage to back this up, because it wasn't like he came in averaging 400 yards a game passing, and he looked absolutely dreadful against Texas, but they'll do that to a lot of quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. And he looked just okay against Northern Colorado. You did not help your cause. You came in 1-1, and I get it that they lost to Nebraska. That's also a team with a top 15 defense from last year. That's a team that plays in the Big Ten. Whether they're Ohio State or Michigan or not is irrelevant. Mm-hmm. They play in the Big Ten. It's still a good football program that Colorado lost to. Went to their place and lost. You should not be poking the bear.
And I have problems with they got punched in the mouth real quick. You lost anyway.
You lost in double overtime.
You had 3 touchdown leads. You led by 11 points with 11 minutes left and lost. So don't bring that to me, Braden Fowler-Nicolosi. And then Torrey Horton, yeah, you know what? They got Instagram followers and celebrities and beat you by 19 points in your house. Rather easily, by the way. So, if you're going to run that amount of smack, you at least have to win one of these.
And they've lost, 7, 8 in a row now?
Maybe just keep your mouth shut.
It was like last year.
You know what? Then if you beat them, you have the win and the high ground. We didn't need to say anything. We don't need no celebrities. We won. You can't say that after you lost the last game, blowing an 11-point lead with 11 minutes left.
You lost in double overtime. You're right. Yeah. You blew leads in that game. And what are you thinking? You're not playing great football. It's not like they went to Texas and battled the Longhorns down the stretch and they lost by a touchdown.
Yeah.
They got absolutely drilled and then didn't look great against Northern Colorado.
No. Now, Texas is going to mess some people up, if you know what I mean. And they messed Colorado State up. But since then, they've
7 in a row, by the way.
Kind of struggled
Colorado
with UNC. And barely managed any offense against a very bad defense.
Whether it was last year with Jay Norvell and the sunglasses comment or this stuff from Nicolosi, Braden Fowler-Nicolosi, or, Torrey Horton, I just... Come on, guys.
At some point, you gotta tape your win-loss record to your mirror and then look in it. Come on. You are...
Realize what you didn't get done last year.
Yeah.
And where you're at right now.
You had held Colorado to 17 points through 3.5 quarters, and they won with 45 or 43 rather.
43-35, yeah.
Like they couldn't stop a snowball from running downhill right now in July.
All right. And then one go closer to home here with Colorado Mesa, who had a 9-0 lead. Colin Stewart comes up with a big interception on a screen pass. And then Aiden Taylor takes it in from 10 yards out on a powerful run. Mavs lead at 9-0 over Central Washington Saturday, only to see Central Washington start to put some things together, and they go on to score 28 unanswered points. They win 28-12 on Saturday. Dean Allen talked with Mavericks coach Miles Kochaver after the game.
Thanks, Jim. Dean Allen down here with head coach Miles Kochaver. Coach, you guys had a really strong first quarter. Then things kind of came apart. What happened out there?
Just immaturity. We gotta continue to learn each opportunity. We got to take advantage of it when it presents itself. We got to make sure we can create our own momentum, create our own breaks. We were unable to do that. Penalties, when we look at this one, I think it's going to be double digits. And ours were costly. Big penalties that brought the ball back on big plays. Some things that we knew going into the game we couldn't beat ourselves, and we weren't able to do that.
Guys, beat the penalties too. What are you planning on doing this week in practice to try to address that?
We just got to make sure we learn. We got to do a great job of teaching. We got to make sure that we learn from our mistakes. We got a group that's got to continue to build off of each week. You win or lose, we got to make sure we take those mistakes, we correct them, we're able to move forward.
All right, that's Miles Kochaver after the game. And part of the problem was all of a sudden Central Washington, they started to figure some things out in the second quarter running the football. You had their quarterback, Kennedy McGill, that threw for 116 yards, but he had 55 yards on the ground, and he had 2 3-yard touchdown runs. Tyler Flanagan, Cam Daniels, I kind of made the comparison of Thunder and Lightning, Tiki Barber and Ron Dane for the Giants back in the day. Flanagan being kind of your Ron Dane, physical guy, Lone Star Conference, preseason offensive player of the year. He had a touchdown. He had 78 yards. Cam Daniels, the quicker back, he didn't have a touchdown, but he had 78 yards. He averaged 5.6 yards per carry, and that was the difference. For the Mavericks, they lost Leslie Richardson to we were not certain. Looked like it was helmet-to-helmet contact, and it was a concussion for Leslie Richardson. So he left after 83 yards in the game, and Miles Newble had 27 yards to lead the Mavericks. Taylor had that 10-yard touchdown run from a receiving standpoint. Kazon Villa had a really good game, 4 catches, 57 yards. But defensively for the Mavericks, Chuck Smith, back-to-back weeks where he had double-digit tackles. He had 12 tackles in the game for the Mavericks. Are now 1-1, and they will take on Colorado State, Pueblo, over in Pueblo coming up this Saturday here on the team with pregame at 1, kickoff at 2 o'clock. Some scores from the weekend. You had CSU Pueblo losing to Grand Valley State, a perennial D2 power, 24-21. And Western New Mexico beat New Mexico Highlands 36-33. Western, they beat West Texas A&M 26-17. University of Texas Permian Basin beat Adams State 67-14. Fort Lewis beat Arizona Christian University 17-12. You also had Colorado School of Mines beating Washburn by the score of 31-28. All right, coming up, we'll talk with Curtis Hintz, but let's quickly jump into 4-down territory this morning.
We're into 4-down territory on the Jim Davis Show on the team.
All right, first down. Well, the Rockies are not going to win a division title. They're not going to get a wild card. Certainly not going to win a league championship. Mm-hmm. They've got this going for the organization. Congratulations to the Spokane Indians.
Yeah.
They won the Northwest League title, beating the Vancouver Canadians.
Hey.
So congratulations to the Spokane Indians, high A team in the Northwest League. They win the championship in the Northwest League. So at least there's one team in the Rockies organization that they can say they're a champion of something.
Those guys will grow up into champions.
Hopefully so. Second down. Caitlin Clark's pretty good. I think let's just be honest about that.
I've heard that.
She became the all-time rookie scoring leader with a deep three, 2:51 left to play in the third quarter as she surpasses former Minnesota Lynx standout Simone Augustus, who was the number 1 pick in 2006. Augustus had 744 points, 35, a career high for Caitlin Clark against Dallas yesterday. She now has 761 points with 1 regular season game left. Congratulations to Caitlin Clark.
We go back to the Rockies for third down. They're retiring the current City Connect uniforms and debuting new ones coming up for 2025. Are you going to miss a favorite moment? I'm just kidding. That's third down. Fourth down, Tony Romo was on the Chiefs game yesterday, and he had some calls. He says, this is Mahomes throwing into the dirt on purpose. He sees it, and he has such great instincts. He didn't see that initially, but he sees everything. It's a winning play. Okay, all right. Well,
okay.
All right, but the best two were talking about his 40-yard dash time. Jim Nantz says, they told me you ran a 4.21 at the combine. Tony Romo follows up. I did, but it was only 20 yards. That was pretty solid. And then another game, Jim Nantz was talking about a drop from a Bengals player saying maybe the sun got in his eyes. And Tony Romo followed up with, sun's been here for a lot of years, Jim.
That's actually pretty good.
That's a Tony Romo winner right there from the game yesterday, Bengals Chiefs.
That's pretty good. All right, we'll skip this day in sports history. Let's quickly get to Wrigley Field Colorado Sports Trivia, brought to you by Wrigley Field, Grand Junction's original sports bar at 1810 North Avenue. All right, winner today gets a gift certificate to Wrigley Field. Here's the question today. Tim Tebow threw for 316 yards in Denver's playoff win against Pittsburgh. Who was his other 300-yard passing game against in his entire career as a Denver Bronco? I think his entire career, period. Tim Tebow threw for 316 in Denver's playoff win over Pittsburgh. He had only one other 300-yard passing game in his career. Which team was it against? Send your answer in right now to get a gift certificate to Wrigley Field, 970-242-1340.
It's your morning sports and more. It's the Jim Davis Show on the team. Talking North Fork football with head coach Curtis Hintz on the Jim Davis Show.
And Curtis Hintz is brought to you by the Rick Nelson Agency and American Family Insurance. For a free comparison, call this team of licensed professionals at 970-241-0078. Curtis Hintz joins us. Curtis, appreciate the time. You're going to face a really tough Monta Vista football team and a team with Caden Madrid that's known for throwing the football, and he did have a touchdown pass, but it was their running game with Jacob Pacheco, 194 yards and a couple of touchdowns. That really was the difference in their victory over your Miners.
I think turnovers were the key to it, though. And, I tip my hat to Coach Wassinger and his staff for creating some turnovers. We lost the turnover battle and gave them some short fields as well. And, towards the end of the game there, Pacheco had a big, long run to, seal the deal after we were pressing just a little bit and threw a third interception later in the game. But I tip my hat to Coach Wassinger and his staff and his kids. They came out and they played extremely hard. It was a really tough, hard-nosed game, exactly what we thought. And, we talked last week it was going to come down to eliminating bad football, and unfortunately we gave them a couple extra possessions and we shot ourselves in the foot a couple times. But really proud of how our kids competed. We just need to focus on executing a little bit better in some crucial situations and give ourselves an opportunity to win in the fourth quarter.
Braden Flores had the 3 interceptions in the football game. What do you tell your quarterback as you get ready for this first game after Monta Vista? What do you try to address with him in terms of doing a better job taking care of the football?
He's a great kid, and he already knows his mistakes before we even sit down and visit. He watched film. He's a student of the game, and as much as you try simulating game-like reps in practice, there's still nothing like being in that game uniform underneath the lights and making those decisions. And I got full confidence, moving forward, he'll make good decisions. The first interception was a tip ball. Those are going to happen where it got tipped and it went right into a Monta Vista kid's hands. The second one was one that, we kind of took a calculated shot there. We were moving the ball pretty well, and the lesson there is just live for another down when we're in that second and manageable. Throw it. If it's not wide open, throw it out of bounds or tuck it and run. And then the last one came later in the game, running 2-minute offense, just trying to make something happen where, you want to go ahead and try forcing it in there when you're down by 2 scores. But, Braden's a student of the game. great kid, and I know that he's going to be, really chomping at the bit to get at practice and correct those mistakes.
You now have Banning Lewis Academy. They're 0-3 on the season. Give us a quick scouting report of Banning Lewis.
They're a returning quarterfinal team. They graduated a big senior class similar to us. However, they return a couple dynamic kids, a big, tough, hard-nosed running back that's 6 foot, 215. We got to make sure that we emphasize gang tackling him. And then they've got a receiver, kind of a slot back that also plays safety. Very impressed with him on film. His name's Jordan Jones, and he's a dynamic kid, playmaker. That we got to make sure when we're on offense that he's accounted for in the run game, and then make sure that we don't fall asleep with them just giving the ball to the bigger back and then running some counters with him. Anytime you lose a big senior class, you're starting to play some kids that haven't had all that varsity experience. We kind of know that because we're a little bit in the same boat there. But we know that they're going to be well coached, they're going to be disciplined, and they're going to be hungry to try getting in that win category.
All right, that game's Saturday, 11 at Hotchkiss. Curtis, appreciate the time. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, take care. Curtis Hins, coach of the North Fork Miners. Do we have a winner today for Wrigley Field Colorado Sports Trivia? Houston Texans, by the way.
Josh, first in the door.
Well done, Josh. Well done. All right, that's our show for today. Don't forget, join the Armchair Quarterbacks starting at 4 o'clock today at Wrigley Field. And then 5:30 Westwood 1 pregame for the Falcons taking on the Eagles. For the Buckeye Boy, I'm Jim. Jim Rome's coming up next.